Hi, hello, how you doing? I'm Catherine Renigo. Welcome to another installment of me just trying to get my life together, trying to feel something, anything. So this video is pretty exciting because this is something new that I'm trying, and it's very surprising that I'm just now trying something like this because knowing my Virgo type A super control freak personality, you would think that I would have already done this, but it's never too late. So in this video, I'm going to be starting my very first bullet journal. Woo! I should have made a cup of coffee. I really wanted to make a cup of coffee to drink while recording this video, but I need to get better at staying hydrated, so this will do. But I really want caffeine. I'm just gonna go ahead and get right into it. This is my bullet journal. I have no idea what brand it is. I got it off Amazon for I think $9. I'll put a screenshot of the order right here so you can see what brand it is because I cannot remember. But it is basically this plain black bullet journal. There is nothing special about it at all. I was looking into moleskin journals because I feel like that's what everybody gets when they start bullet journaling. But those prices, why? And sure, this journal probably isn't the super best quality I could ever have, but it works and it's functional. And knowing myself, this bullet journal is probably gonna go through a lot because with my past planners, I would usually just throw it in my backpack and it would usually come apart by the end of the year. So at least I am not spending that much on something that I know is gonna have wear and tear no matter what. You know, as I'm saying that sentence, maybe if I invested in a moleskin, it wouldn't have any wear and tear by the end of the year because it's better quality. I saved money, that's all that matters. I'm just gonna walk you through on how I set it up. So I got this journal during the month of May. I used the rest of the month of May to kind of mess around with different styles of bullet journaling and what I found best for myself, and I think I finally found the format that is best for me. It is nothing super extravagant. It's super minimalistic because I don't want to put in a whole lot of detail and effort every single time I have to set it up because I think that's gonna not keep me motivated to do it. So I figured a more simplistic yet still aesthetically pleasing design would still motivate me to continue using it throughout the year. Before I start actually bullet journaling, here are the things I usually use for my bullet journal. So of course we have to use the Tombow dual brush pens. These are the colors that I usually use. And also of course we have the mild liners. Again, these are the colors I usually use. We need some washi tape. I don't have a huge collection of washi tape, but for me, again, I'm trying to keep a more simplistic design for my bullet journal. And as for my pens, I use the Muji pens, which I discussed in my previous video. And then of course I need whiteout because knowing myself, I'm inevitably going to be making many mistakes, so this is a huge essential for whenever I start any kind of journal or writing. So those are basically the things that I use for my bullet journal. So when you first open it, you just see my name and my contact information that I am blurring out. Please do not call me. Actually, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't blur it out. My phone is super dry. So the first few pages of this bullet journal is actually inspired by Ashley Best Dressed. Posted her own bullet journal video a few months ago, I believe, and she had this page in the beginning and it said note to self, and it was this journal entry that she had written a while ago. So I kind of like the idea of starting the journal with words that mean a lot to me, and I didn't even necessarily write these words. This is actually just a collection of quotes that I have been keeping in my iPhone notes, and at the very end I kind of wrote my own little pep talk to myself. So basically what it says is whatever is happening is supposed to happen or else it wouldn't. You don't even know where you're at until you're there. You don't have it all together and no one's asking you to. The only time you should look back is to see how far you've come. The fear of trying new things is tied to the idea of loss. It's the possibility of having a dream come true that makes life interesting. You're not in a strange place, you're in a new place. If you're happy, who honestly cares? The act of creating something is always more important than the result. Slow progress is still progress, even when you mess up and have to start over. Always ask yourself, are you having fun with it? Do the things you enjoy just because you can. You can't succeed at everything, you will fail, and then learn. That is a success in itself. You are not defined by your accomplishments or your resume. Instead, you are your music taste, you are the people you love, the art you create, the conversations you have, the lessons you've learned, the growth you've made, and the growth still left to make. You are yourself. That's more than enough. So that's super like Pinterest cheesy, every single cliche you can think of, but they're words that mean a lot to me. So, and then once you turn the page, you'll just see the yearly layout. Since I started this in May, I'm not obviously planning for the whole entire year of 2020. Not that there is much to plan for the year 2020 due to 2020 literally being canceled. I have all the months from May to December, as you can see, and then on the right, this part of the bullet journal is still pretty inspired by Best Dress Setup. She had this goals page and she divided it into personal, career, and short-term goals. I really liked this because I am a very goal-oriented person, but I get overwhelmed with having to write down goals for every single month. So I don't do goals for every single month. Instead, I'm just gonna refer to this page of goals. The personal and the career goals are things that I can look back on like years from now to see if I accomplished those. I don't necessarily want to accomplish them within 2020, whereas my short-term goals are something I hope to see come into fruition by the end of 2020. I also have this video ideas list. I'm about halfway done with the page actually, and there's still a lot of videos that I have not made, obviously, but this list isn't necessarily my list for this whole entire year. Like, I want to fill up this list and then start a new one somewhere in the journal. May was kind of my tester month for this bullet journal, so I'm just gonna do a quick look through of that. And then let's get into actually making the bullet journal. So on the left, I wrote May recap. I haven't written anything yet, but basically I want to use this page as a journal entry reflection page where I'm just gonna reflect on the month, the things I felt, the things I did, and this one's gonna be more of like a narrative. And then on the right is where I'm gonna go ahead and start designing the June cover. So for this cover, I honestly didn't really have a plan. I just kind of went in with it. I've been looking a lot on Pinterest for ideas, and I saw that a lot of bullet journaling people like to cut out pages from books for the aesthetic. So I found this book that we had. We have 2 copies of it, so I figured I could use the other copy to trash, basically. So sorry, Ralph Ellison, your book Invisible Man was somewhat of an enjoyable read during AP language, but I don't think I'm gonna need it in the future. So I went ahead and pasted the little book excerpt. I wanted to write the word June out in calligraphy, but I went ahead and sketched it with pencil first. And then I took my blue brush pen to just go over that, and I outlined it with my Muji pen and did little shadowing as well. And honestly, at this point, still didn't really know what I was doing. I decided to add these little flowers in the top right corner. And it still didn't look like enough, so I added a piece of white grid washi tape on the bottom. And again, it still didn't look like enough, so I added this little like curved box border around it, just because it matches with the rest of my monthly layout. Yeah, after this, I was pretty happy with how it looked. Again, I didn't want to add too much, but I still wanted it to make it look nice. So moving on, this is how I did the monthly like calendar. I just wrote June in the top left corner with the blue brush pen again. And at this point, I had already chosen what my color scheme was gonna be for June. So in May, I did like a green purple color scheme with like little maroon accents. This month, I decided to do a pastel blue with pastel pink with the maroon accent still. So these are the 3 Tombow brush pens I used throughout this month. So the calendar is pretty simple. Added some washi tape on the right and on the bottom to fill up the empty area, and then in this little space that I had, I also wrote a quote. So I'm really into like Stoic philosophy quotes, so I wrote this one by Seneca. It says, "While we wait for life, life passes," which is super introspective and deep, but I like it. So moving on, I don't have that many spreads that I have because again, I wanted to keep a very simplistic outline for my bullet journaling. So one of the only real spreads I have is this mood and sleep tracker. This was again also inspired by Best Dress Ashley, but I do also see this on Pinterest a lot as well, where you record how many hours of sleep you got and then what your mood was out of 10, and you do it on each day. As you can see, I started doing it in May too, and it's really interesting to see how my sleep correlates with my mental health, because for the most part there is a direct relationship, But it's also interesting to see when there's not a direct relationship, and I can kind of look back on that day and be like, why? I don't know, I just like data collection and the idea of doing this like personal case study for myself. And on the right, we have a June highlight spread. So throughout the month, I'll just be filling this up with things that I did or accomplished. Even if they're big or small, I just want to write them down so I can look back on it. So yeah, those are the spreads that I do before I start the actual weekly planning. So now to move on to the weekly planning. For this, I keep it pretty simple again. So instead of doing 1 week on 1 page, I do 1 week on 2 pages, just because I tried to do 1 week on 1 page and it just looked too cluttered for me. So basically I put Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on 1 spread, and then when you flip the page, that's where Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is. I wrote out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday with my blue brush pen, and then wrote out the actual date number with the marker pen side of the pink brush pen. And then I did these little curved boxes again just to keep it a bit more organized. And then within each box, I divide it into 2 categories. On the left side, it says tasks, and this is basically my to-do list for the day. I try to write it in order of when I'm going to accomplish these things, but for the most part, I don't really schedule out my day hour by hour, which I know some bullet journalers do. I just felt like that was a bit too daunting for me, especially because right now it's summer and I don't really have an hourly schedule like I usually do when I am in school. And then on the right side, I have this list called Things I Did, and this is more so for my own personal documentation. Like, it's not necessarily like to keep me accountable for things. It's just for me to be able to have a space of things that I did that day that I didn't necessarily write under tasks to make me feel accomplished and to be able to look back at the day and see what I did. So for example, under tasks, I'll write exercise, but under things I did, I'll write that I ran 1 mile today. Like, those, obviously those two go together. Like, that was my form of exercise for that day, but I was proud of myself because specifically I ran a mile, so I wrote that under things I did. And then I'll even write like what I ate that day, what I cooked that day, who I FaceTimed that day. It's just a nice way to be able to see that I did film my day, because since we are in this super weird time right now, it's easy to keep thinking, oh, I did nothing today. But I mean, I did do things, like I ate food, I read a book. So then I did the same for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then right under Sunday, since I have the extra space, this is where I keep my habit tracker for the week, and then also a little space for next week just to write any upcoming deadlines I may have for the next week. I am taking 1 online summer class, so this is nice to be able to keep track of which assignments I might have the coming week that I can go ahead and work on throughout the weekend. For the habits, the ones that I like to keep track of are my water intake, exercise, devotion, reading, journaling, writing. I actually do not write out every single weekly spread for every single week of June, because that's just a lot for me to do in one sitting, I'm not gonna lie. And it's kind of nice for me to take time every Sunday to lay out the rest of the upcoming week in my bullet journal and then plan it out from there. So yeah, that's my bullet journal spread. That was my June plan with me, I guess is what they call it. So yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna keep doing monthly planning bullet journal videos. I think I might, but just not every month. But I really did enjoy this whole process of putting it all together. And it didn't even really take me that long, which is nice, because again, I wanted something that wasn't too much work so that I can continue doing it every single month. I don't know why I chose now to start a bullet journal, because I'm not even like on campus in school right now taking a full semester, so I don't have like a lot to be doing and scheduling out. But I figured having this bullet journal would be a nice way to keep me accountable for like the passion projects I want to be working on. Like this, for example, YouTube. I've been writing a lot of like scheduling out and planning videos out in this bullet journal, and it's been making me very excited just to like have solid plans with what I want to do with the content I'm putting out. But I hope you're all doing well. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to start a bullet journal but you feel like you don't want to put in that much work and effort into making it look super nice, you don't have to. You don't have to do calligraphy on every single dang page. I feel like I've been talking for 5 hours even though it's only been 20 minutes. So I think I'm gonna go take a nap actually. Or maybe I should just make a cup of coffee. I've been trying so hard to stay hydrated. I'm gonna make a cup of coffee. That's where I'm leaving you off on.